In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Assalamu alaikum guys, this is Muhammad Zuzair to present the second act of the William Shakespeare's Winter's Tale, and it's a group 2. Originally, Winter's Tale was published in the first folio of 1623. It is grouped among the comedies, but many modern critics have relabeled the play as one of the Shakespeare's late romances. It is also considered as Shakespeare's problem play. Now, what is meant by first folio, late romances, and problem play? Let's see. First of all, discuss the first folio. The first folio refers to the first printed collection of 36 of the William Shakespeare's play. They include comedies, histories, and tragedies, and it was completed in 1623, so it is referred as first folio. Now, second term, the late romances. Shakespeare's late romances are a grouping of his last plays that comprises of Principal, Prince of Tyre, Chamberlain, The Winter's Tale, The Tempest, The Two Nobles, of an Honest Man. Now, the third term, what is meant by William Shakespeare's problem play? In Shakespeare's studies, three plays: All's Well That Ends Well, Measure for Measure, and Troilus and Suicides, written between 1590s and 17th century, referred to as problem plays. His problem plays are characterized by complex and ambiguous tone, shifts violently between dark psychological drama and more straightforward comic materials. First three acts have intense psychological drama and last two supply the happy ending, so it can be referred as tragicomedy. Now the next point is about the performance of play in a second. You can see in the second slide on the very top. The earliest recorded performance of the play was recorded by the Simon Foreman, who noted in his journal on 11th May 1611 that he saw The Winter's Tale at Globe Theatre. Now the discussion about the title of play. That the title of play have been inspired by the George Peele's play The Old Wives, a tale of 1590, in which a storyteller tells the story of a merry winter's tale of a miserable daughter. And next topic, you can see that debate, the third point of the second slide. What is meant by the debates on this novel, that what are the loops and what are the issues on which a debate can be conducted, and I have selected only two. First of all is the statue, and the second is the seacoast of the Bohemia. Let's start with the statue. I will explain this. Language that Pauline used in the final scene evokes the sense of a magical ritual through which the Hermione, the wife of King Leontes, is brought back to life. Different passages suggest that Hermione was not dead, rather she was hidden by the Pauline to protect her from King's death. Hermione was not brought back to life through the magic. So, what does here the statue signify? That Pauline, one of the servants of the King Leontes, his wife Pauline, she managed to escape the queen from the castle and hid her to a remote area to prevent her from the anger of the king, and made a statue that yes, your wife has been died because of your fault. But it was said that no, she was not dead and she was not brought back to life, rather she was alive. And the second point to be discussed is the sea coast of the Bohemia. Shakespeare's fellow Ben Jonson ridicules the presence of a sea coast and desert in Bohemia, since kingdom of the Bohemia had neither a coast nor a beach. That both of the things were not present at that time in that kingdom, but William Shakespeare witfully used these two things, the seacoast and the desert. Now come to the act 2, the third slide. You can see. So first of all, I will explain the summary of the second act from where it opens. Hermione is with her son. Leontes gets furiously in and imprisons his wife with her ladies in waiting. Antigonus' wife Pauline managed to talk to the queen, where she is informed that queen gave birth to a baby girl. Pauline took the baby to the king, who orders to throw her to fire, but later says to throw the girl in the remote area, and meanwhile agrees to wait for an oracle from the Apollo in Delphi. So now here is the analysis of some lines that I have selected from the act 2. Let's discuss them. It is a line from the scene 1. We shall present ourselves to a fine new prince one of the days, and then you would wanton with us if we would have you. So this line foreshadows the arrival of a new baby in the world, brother or sister of Mamilius. Who is Mamilius? Mamilius is the son of the Leontis and Queen Hermione. And this line also presents an irony because after the arrival of new one, it was of no need for the Mamilius to search for those ladies because the prince will die in the act 3. The very first line, I mean to say that in the first scene of the third act, it will be depicted that Mamilius has been died. The next point is, you can see in the next slide. A sad tale is best for winter. Mamilius is sitting with his mother, who asks him to tell her a story, and he replies, "A sad tale is best for winter." It shed a light on the play's topic. It reveals that entire play is not set in the winter, but only its sadistic portion. The next line that I have to discuss, this is, "There may be in the cup a spider steeped, and one may drink, depart, and yet phantom, no venom, for this knowledge is not infected." Leontis is talking about his failure to catch the Polixene. Polixene is a king of the kingdom of the Bohemia, and he is the friend of the King Leontis, and King Leontis is suspicious that his wife Hermione and his friend, they are involved in the adulteress. So, and says that if you knowingly brought trouble to you, you are the accursed. Here cup personifies the kingdom of Sicilia, and spider the king of the Bohemia. Here it is very clear that Leontis is not intelligent, because if he was known of his servants, the Camillo, who helped the king of the Bohemia to escape, and it is very evident from this point that he was in the lake of the wisdom. So in the next slide, the first line to be present is that false villain whom I employed was pre-employed by him. King Leontis is talking about the Camillo, his most trustworthy, to whom Leontis asked to poison the Polixene, but he did not do this, rather reveal the truth to the Polixene and went to Bohemia with him. One thing here, that was the king of Sicily mad? He could not know his servants. False villain, if Camillo what does the word false villain depicted here? If Camillo had poisoned the Polixene, he would be a villain. He would be a villain in the eyes of the readers and audiences, but now a hero to whom he is calling a false villain in his anger. Here we can see that the Leontis is rash and very short-tempered. The line number 64 of the first scene of second act, that is, "Who came the postern so easily open?" This is a remark that was given by the King Leontis. It's not only a dramatic irony but also a satire on the King Leontis. Camillo had the authority of kingdom, so could move anywhere with no restriction. It reveals that king was not much familiar with the kingdom's affair. Okay, now see the next line, that in the next slide, "I never wished to see you sorry. No, I trust I shall." It is a very contradictory statement by the Queen. The second part of the sentence foreshadows the tragedy he is going to face in the form of death of his wife Hermione and son Mamilius. Now it was about the second act, scene 1. Now scene 2 is to start. The next slide. So it is a scene 2. We start with a conversation with the jailer. Pauline comes to know that Queen gave birth to a baby daughter. She became very happy that this news will melt the heart of the king. Pauline plans to get the Queen escape from the jail. Her sentence foreshadow her content. See there that no court in Europe is too good for you. What does this then in prison? That there is no prison in whole of the Europe that can imprison you. Then this line by the Pauline foreshadow that she will manage to get the Queen escaped. Now come to the act 2 scene 3. That Pauline carries the baby to the king's room, careless of the presence of the other servants there. She overtook each argument of Leontis and placed the baby on the table and went out. Leontes ordered Antigonus to throw the baby into the fire, to which he denies, and all of them because became agreed to place the girl on the desolate island. Meanwhile, Cleomenes and Dion have arrived with an oracle of the Apollo. Leontes orders to arrange a court publicly to sentence the queen the punishment of death. One thing is very evident here, guys, that King lacked the sense of argument because he has no sound proof against the queen. Also, he is monarch in himself because he wanted to listen no one but his own opinion and threat the others with the death if go against his command. As his command shows, and there is a comment that, and Rosal, thou art worthy is to be hanged, that will not stay her tongue. And this argument, and this is the sentence that he said to his servant Antigonus, that if you can't make your wife to stop argument with me, then I will hang you. Now guys, it's the time to analyze the second act. First of all, the opening of the second act is sheds light at the topic. The winter stage does not mean that whole the play is set in the winter, rather 3 acts are set in the winter, and summer and spring gets entrance in the last 2 acts. The resonance of the title for the opening act is suggested in this sense by the Mamilius, who promises to tell his mother a story and then says, a sad tale is best for winter. It suggests that the sad portion of the play is set in winter. Now what's about the spring and summer? This is the second point to be discussed. By bringing about a happy ending in the summer sun, the playwright seems to suggest that Mamilius is only partially correct and that the best winter story will end not with the sadness but with the promise of spring. So we can say that winter is about the promise of frozen relationship, sad story. Summer is about the melting of the snow of misunderstanding, and spring is about the bloom of new flowers, new hopes, and new journeys. One thing is very evident in whole of the plays, that in whole of the play of the Shakespeare Winter's Tale, it's the concept of misogyny. Misogynist view is very evident. That Pauline very enthusiastically tries to convince Leontes of his own newborn daughter, to whom he again and again rejects, and reacts furiously towards her. Pauline at her attempt and reasoning with him. Leontes seems afraid of female power, becomes furious on Antigonus for not controlling his wife, and he says, why he can't rule her, that has he no authority on his wife to stop her. And guys, it was about the second act of the play, and where it ends that two servants of the Leontes, they have traveled to the Delphi to bring an oracle about the fate, that what will be the fate of the king Hermione and king of the Bohemia, Apollyon. Thank you very much to listen. Allah Hafiz.